Chapter 3, Pullman Cyberculture. Later on in the day, the Senate committee meeting had been nothing short of draining. Dr. Monica Pullman stormed down the hallway of Pullman Cyberculture, her expression tight, her mind racing. The clinical, bluish light of the facility reflected off the dark, stainless steel walls, casting an industrial glow over the bustling laboratory. The hum of supercomputers filled the air, a persistent backdrop to the ceaseless activity within the facility. Technicians and scientists moved with purpose, their faces drawn into grim lines of focus as they rechecked safeguards and moderated experiments. Yet despite their diligence, there was an undercurrent of urgency, a quiet but ever-present fear of the unknown. Monica's hands clenched into fists at her sides as she walked, her boots clicking sharply against the cold, metallic floor. Her jaw was set in frustration, and the tension radiated off her like heat. She had just spent hours in the Senate's Defense Committee meeting, enduring the relentless interrogation of politicians who, in her view, couldn't grasp the magnitude of what was at stake. "Damn politicians," she muttered through gritted teeth, her voice low but dripping with anger. "All they want to do is bitch about every little thing." She glanced toward her colleague, Dr. Aaliyah Tiv, who had been following her pace closely. Monica's words came faster now, a mixture of frustration and weariness fueling them. "While the average person is completely unaware of the potential dangers facing us." Her words echoed off the steel walls, blending with the rhythmic hum of machinery. Monica stopped in her tracks, turning to face Aaliyah, her eyes blazing with the intensity of someone who had spent years on the edge of breakthrough after breakthrough, only to be met with endless bureaucratic roadblocks. She could still see the faces of the senators from earlier, the skeptical frowns, the loaded questions. None of them understood what it was like to stand at the precipice of such monumental discoveries, or the responsibility that came with it. Dr. Aaliyah Tiv, ever composed, placed a calming hand on Monica's arm. "Monica," she began softly but firmly, "we stand behind you. Every one of us. I can speak for the entire team when I say we're working diligently." Aaliyah's voice carried a calm confidence, her words an anchor in the storm that raged within Monica. "We're making sure the safeguards are implemented at all lab facilities around the world. We've got this." Monica's eyes softened for a brief moment as she looked at Aaliyah, but the tension in her body remained. Aaliyah had been by her side since the inception of the Cybernetic program, and if there was anyone she could trust, it was her. But that trust did little to soothe the storm of frustration that churned within her. The weight of responsibility, the constant political scrutiny, it was enough to break anyone. Yet Monica knew she had no choice but to press forward. "Thank you, Aaliyah," she said, her voice slightly calmer, though the fire had not completely left her eyes. "And thank the others, too, for their support. We've got a lot of work ahead of us," she added, her focus returning to the task at hand. "Especially before the next Senate committee meeting, where I'll have to listen to those stupid asses again." Aaliyah smiled slightly, the corners of her lips curving upward in sympathy. She knew Monica's frustrations ran deep, but she also knew the stakes. The technology they were working on, the merging of cybernetics with human biology, the nanites that could potentially save or destroy, was cutting-edge, groundbreaking. But with it came dangers that few could truly comprehend. Monica turned her attention to the series of monitors mounted on the wall in front of them. The screens were split into 4, each displaying a different location, various laboratories across the globe, all working in unison to ensure the success of the project. Teams of scientists were hunched over their terminals, deep in concentration as they monitored the stress integrity of their experiments. Each of these labs was a cog in the grand machine, working toward a singular goal, saving humanity from itself. The faint hum of the supercomputers seemed louder in the silence that followed, a reminder of the enormity of their task. It was easy to get lost in the mechanics of it all, the endless calculations, the fine-tuning of cybernetic interfaces, the intricate dance of nanites within a human host. But behind the science, behind the cold steel walls, lay a fear Monica couldn't shake. She looked at the screens, then back to Aaliyah. "I just wish they understood," Monica muttered. The public, the politicians, all of them. We're not just playing God, we're fighting for survival. Aaliyah nodded, her eyes clouding with the same concern that had been growing in Monica's. They'll understand, eventually, she said softly. They won't have a choice. Not when the dangers start knocking at their door. Monica scoffed, her frustration rising again. By then it might be too late. The room felt colder as Monica's words settled. They both knew what she meant. The threats they were trying to counter, pandemics, war, the breakdown of society, were growing by the day. And yet, they were being held back by people who didn't understand, who feared the unknown more than they feared extinction. Monica exhaled slowly, trying to ease the tension in her chest. The meeting had taken more out of her than she had realized. She glanced around at the lab, at the team working tirelessly behind the scenes. These were the people who understood, who saw the necessity of their work. She had to keep going, for them, for all of humanity. We need to make sure everything is perfect, she said finally, her voice steady but laced with exhaustion. No mistakes. Not a single error. The next round of tests needs to be flawless. Aaliyah nodded again, more firmly this time. We're on it. I'll make sure the team doubles down on everything. We won't leave any stone unturned. Monica offered a small, weary smile. She appreciated Aaliyah's determination, but she knew the road ahead would only get rougher. I trust you, she said quietly. As Monica turned back toward the monitors, the hum of the lab became louder again, almost oppressive. The machines were a constant reminder of the work still left to do, of the delicate balance they were walking between innovation and disaster. And in the back of her mind, Monica couldn't help but wonder, what if they were wrong? What if all their efforts weren't enough? She shook the thought away. She couldn't afford doubt, not now. With one last look at Aaliyah, Monica straightened her posture, her resolve hardening once again. The future of humanity rested on their shoulders, and no amount of political red tape or personal doubt was going to stop her. She would see this through to the end, no matter what it cost her. Chapter ended.